All right, everybody in the stream, I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere. That's just kind of like my outro for when I like chop this up and put it on YouTube or edit it up. So, does anybody have any questions about what we talked about tonight? Okay, so we're just taking questions now. If anybody had just stopped in, you can check out the recording once it's posted. Like I said, I just like to edit them a little bit. I'm getting better at that, figuring out, I've known how to edit for a while, but figuring out how to edit on YouTube, their editor is a little bit strange, but I think I'm figuring it out. So hopefully everybody enjoyed our lesson this evening. Akin, if I'm saying your name correctly. I'm not going to get too far into it because I want to save that for like a whole lesson because that's a very big topic. But all a chord progression if somebody says play a progression, it's a sequence of chords or it's a pattern of chords. So say I used a C major, I used an F major, I used a G major, I used a C major. That's a chord progression because I went from one chord to the next, to the next, to the next. And that's really all there is in terms of like the very strict definition. Now there are tons of types. There's the 1-4-5-1 chord progression that I just talked about, or just did. You have 1-2-5-1. And like again, if you're totally lost, I will explain this at a later time at one of the other streams because I think this is a great thing to make a whole video about. And then really anything though, even if you make a chord progression that doesn't sounds kind of random, or something like that, that's still a chord progression because it fits the definition. It's just a pattern of chords that you use. And generally what artists will do, or composers, they will use one chord or a few chord progressions, but only a few of them, and then use them several times in a song. So you'll hear a chord progression prevalent throughout an entire piece of music, at least usually. Hi, John. Yeah, a chord progression, I just explained a second ago, in case you just dropped in. All it is a pattern of chords. So a combination. So say I do C major, A minor, G major, F major, C major, A minor, G major, F major, C major, A minor, G major, F major. That's a chord progression. You can see I was doing the same pattern of chords over and over again. So by the strictest definition, that's exactly what it is. Like I had mentioned a minute ago, I would really like to do a full video on this type of thing. It's not something I can really explain in depth in just the little bit that we have left. All right, any other chord maybe chord related questions? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're talking about tonight. So any chord progression related questions are okay, are good. But anything on the major chords, minor chords, anything you're confused about with chords and how they work, like I said, the chord progression question was really good. So any others like that? What is the definition of a minor chord? Sure, John. So I'll explain that to you. So, once this stream is done, there will be a video I'll edit together of the stream explaining what the minor chord, or really what people mean when they say minor chord, is a minor triad. And all a triad is made up of 3 notes. So to play any minor triad, first you have to know what whole step, well, really what half steps are. Just know that a half step, when I'm talking about half steps, is the smallest amount of movement you can make on the piano. So it's like from the white key to the black key, white key, black key, white key, white key, right there. Those are all half steps because I'm just playing the very next note touching that note. So to make a minor triad on any note, you play that note. So say you have a C minor triad. The first thing you want to do is play C, and then you want to go up 3 half steps, not including the note you just played. 1, 2, 3. So the next one's E flat. Then not including the E flat, you want to count up 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you your minor triad. It is a sadder kind of sounding chord. Okay, crazy question from Shesk. I love the crazy question, Shesk. Are there any chords with 5 notes? So yes, there are chords with 5 notes. They can be any number of different types of chords. Generally what they are, though, is that you have your 7th chord with 4 notes, and then you have your 9th chord, which is, you just go, so you play your root, your 3rd, your 5th, your 7th, you go up 2 notes, you skip 2 notes, and that's your 9th chord. So you play all those notes together. Generally you need 2 hands to do these, or really, really big, gigantic hands. And then there's, if you skip 2 more notes above that, that gives you another one. Basically, actually, if you want to do it this way, this is the easiest way. Play a major 7th chord with your left hand, which we talked about tonight. And then you just want to, whatever chord you did, you want to play a C major up here, right? And then just move all 3 of those keys up 1. And that gives you your 7th, your 9th, 11th, and actually there's a 13th. So how many notes am I playing? 4, 5, 6, 7 notes in total. You can have more than that even, but yes. So the answer is yes. Oh, you're very welcome, John. Okay, so if you're just hopping in, we're taking some questions now, a short Q&A, after our lesson. Seeing if there's anything I can clarify about the lesson we held today or had today, where I talked about all these different types of chords. And remember, if you felt like this session helped you out, leave it a like, because that really helps other people know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from as well. Remember that the main goal here is to teach piano music to everybody around the world. And to do that, we got to let each other know that, hey, you know what? You can learn from this lesson too, just like I did. Or share the lesson. That would be even better. But, I know the like is a pretty convenient way of doing it. Can there be an 8th or a 9th? Good question, John. Yeah. So, but an 8th, all an 8th is an octave, right? So the reason we call it a root 3rd and 5th with the triad is that those are the notes of the scale. So you have to know your scales to really know what I'm talking about. But the C major scale is just from C to C, and all the white keys in between. That's the easiest one. So it's called a root, a 3rd and a 5th, because the root is really like the name of the scale that you're taking it from. Your 3rd is the 3rd note of that scale. The 5th is the 5th note of that scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 1, 3, 5. The 7th is the 7th note of that scale. And then the 8th is really just an octave, right? Because if I take the root in the 8th, just an octave. Now a 9th is when you go up, even further than that. So if you go up 8th, so here's how it works. So here's 8, right? An octave. And then you have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And actually 2 octaves is 15. Rich has caught us right at the end of the lesson, but he did make it. So thank you for coming, Rich. Great to have you out as always. No Manny tonight, like I said to others, and actually I see other people coming back now. I love it. I'm always willing to, I don't like to call them shout outs, but I do like to point when I see familiar names. I almost said faces, but I don't really see your faces. You see my face, but I see your names. But I love seeing familiar names. Yeah, you're very welcome, John, indeed. Oh, let me talk about, while maybe you're getting another question or two up there, but it's okay if we're out of questions. One thing I want to mention is that if you go to LessonsOnTheWeb.com, now I'm not going to like sell you on the page or anything. Just go to free services and you want to go to community. Whoops. Because that's really what this live stream, like this is the main page for this live stream. That's why I want to tell you about it. If you scroll down, I actually have the subjects we're going to be talking about for the entire next month charted out on this. So if you want to know what topics we're talking about, when we're talking about them, when the canceled dates are, if I want to take the week off. Now, something may happen and I may have to cancel right away, but that doesn't happen too often. And then, I'm obviously going to put the thumbnails for those topics, as we get close to them. So maybe I'll do like 4 ahead or something. So the next 4. So here's today's, how chords work. That's today, the 22nd. On Friday, I'm going to show you how to play the Legend of Zelda theme on the piano. This is just going to be like kind of a walkthrough, things you should look out for when learning the song. And basically, my tips for you on how to learn it the best and the fastest. And then we're going to talk about next Sunday, talk about what is classical music, because a lot of people think that Bach is classical music or that Chopin is classical music, and they're actually not. And I won't explain today. I'll explain in that lesson. And then, as somebody, I think several people have suggested, as we get into June towards July, we're going to, actually all of June pretty much, I won't cancel there, but all of June pretty much we're talking about, July 4th, Independence Day, at least here in the States. But either way, I think these are pretty, well-known songs, and they're songs that if you learn how to play, they will help you play piano. So whether you're in this country or not, I think you can get something from these lessons. So on the 3rd, we're going to learn how to play the Star-Spangled Banner. The 5th, the one on the 5th is canceled. And then, Born in the USA on the 10th, how to get better at reading music on the 12th. This is just going to be like a kind of a almost a redo of some of the first lessons I did on how to read music. So this, now that I have so much more equipment and can probably even explain it even better, now we're going to do that. And then I'll try to give you more tips and take questions. And then we're going to play how to play American the Beautiful. So I don't need to walk you through the entire thing, but I just wanted to let you know that if you want to know about all the upcoming streams, you can check there. And then I will start posting the live stream recordings here. I didn't really get to much of it today. I got to 2 of them from the last time. And I have new thumbnails that Chesk, I think, pointed out. Oh, yes. I feel like I have learned something from this lesson I like. Thank you very much. I wish I had for you, but covered the topics you listed well. Oh, okay, so you're talking about questions. Yeah, so no problem. Really great to have you. I'm glad you shared with us. Great to see you. And you're always welcome back. So if you're wondering when these are, you can check out this calendar. Remember, LessonsOnTheWeb.com. And then if you go to free services, it's under community. Or if you go to LessonsOnTheWeb.com/community, it's actually in the description. So check there. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. And then you can see what our topics will be and when they take place. So if you notice, they all basically take place between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. So that's 49 minutes ago, wherever you are in the world, 49 minutes ago from right now is when we start the stream. And we do it almost every Friday and almost every Sunday. But like I said, check back at the calendar to know like if we're taking off that week or something like that. Okay, yep. Hold on. Okay, you keep saying major happy. This is by Shesk, by the way. Major happy, minor sad. So does that mean that happy song, shiny happy people, is played mostly / only major chords? Sad songs are played using minor chords? Yes. The answer is yes. And mostly is the way you put it. So it doesn't mean that a minor song or a sad song can only have minor chords in it. It can have major chords. And then a happier song can also have minor chords in it. If you want like to maybe change the mood for just a tiny bit, that wouldn't hurt the song at all, and it can still have its overall impact. So as a composer, you know, if you ever get into that, and then to understand composers, they pick and choose. They want the song to sound a certain way, and then they obviously choose these songs based on how they make them feel to do that. So yeah, happy song would have major chords, minor song would have mostly minor chords. How did you learn? John says, how did I learn to make videos? Great question. And organize new ideas to create videos revolved around music theory and piano playing. Oh, you're welcome, Shesk. So, how did I learn how to make videos? Like, some of it is trial and error, like, but I did kind of know how to edit a video. Like, I kind of knew the concept behind it. But when I first started Lessons on the Web in 2013, I think it was May. I may have posted my first video in either March, April, or May. I think I might have started the channel in March and then started recording and got my first videos out. Definitely by May, I think, but I think in April. And I didn't know anything about making videos before that. Like I said, I knew the general concept on, like, you cut a video together and put it together, but I didn't know how Adobe Premiere worked, which is the thing I used. And then after that, after I figured out how to put videos, like, the way I first did it is I had this, like, Canon camcorder I used, which the quality was okay, not as good as it is now, but I basically would, like, go over by the piano. Like, I had a tripod. I would turn the camera down towards the keys, and then I could only do one thing at a time. So I had to film the part with me, like, facing the camera first, and then I'd have to, and I was recording all on the camera, and then I'd put it down, you know, in every perspective I needed, I had to change. And I was not only tired of doing that, but I knew I could do it much more effectively. I was actually watching if you've ever watched the show Video Games Awesome, it's like a video game show that this guy Fraser makes, and I noticed that in his show he has, like, multiple perspectives. You can see what they're talking about, like the game they're talking about. You can see the cast of him and his friends on the couch at the same time, and then he could show, like, other screens as well. And I was really interested in how he put that together. And then I learned about, like, some programs that people use for, this is actually for live streaming as well as recording videos, something like XSplit Broadcaster, and then I learned about that, and then I learned about how to get, like, the quality really good and things like that. I won't get too far into it, but that's really, like, how I got into making this, like, multi-perspective presentation where you can see what we're looking at, you can see me, and you can see the keys all at the same time. It actually took a lot of work for me to figure it all out and get it all working right, and get everything positioned. I even have a fancy tripod and stuff like that to get all this to work. Oh, and then how do I come up with ideas revolved around piano playing and music theory? Well, I learned, I went to Westchester School of Music, and I learned all that stuff there, and I noticed there weren't a ton of videos on playing the piano yet. And now I do mention Leiper from time to time. He was one of the first ones. And there are a few others, but nobody had a full series. That's what I thought was really missing, is I felt like it was all disjointed. Like, some people would start at the beginning and then jump, like, really far ahead, and then, so I wanted to make the Learn to Play Piano series like that, and the Music Theory series like that, where it would take you from the very beginning and then give you, like, a very, not very basic, but a very, very good, solid base to build your piano playing around and your music theory around. So if you watch the whole Playing the Piano series, it will get you to playing scales and playing simple songs and things like that, and getting your first success at the keyboard. And then the music theory one was to do that with music theory, to get you from knowing nothing to knowing what music theory is about, knowing some of your key signatures, knowing your way around the piano in terms of music theory, things like that. So that's really how it all came to be. I'm really oversimplifying, but it was developed over a period of time. But that's generally how it all came together. Oh, you're really welcome, Chef. So you guys like that? Do you like that they're kind of labeled too? I wanted to make that strip larger, like taller, but I feel like with as big as it is, you get the idea. You can see what notes I'm pressing. They are now labeled with the letters because I wanted what we're looking at to be, larger, because I think that's equally important. But you're very welcome. And that's another thing I learned how to add in, is that and a bunch of other things. Okay, so thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Let me see what time it is. Yeah, so we're getting to the end here. Does anybody have any last minute questions or comments? Like I said, you can see I'm going to cut this. I'm probably going to make this live stream into 3 parts, because I think I'm going to be able to retain, people's interest a little better if they're in shorter parts. And I'll probably put them in a playlist. I'm going to try that. Because I usually just post it as one big thing. But I'm going to edit it together a little bit better, make it look a little more professional. And so it's not like one big long video, because people actually don't really like those. I mean, I know some people do. But like I said, I'll put them in a playlist, or they'll be listed together. So you can bing, bang, boom, watch all of them, right in a row to see what we talked about tonight. Yeah, you're very welcome, John. Good question. I have a tripod. I don't remember what it's called right now. And I actually, you can get a regular tripod. What you do is you take a regular tripod. You can do this with a regular one. I have a fancy one because it gives me a better view of it. But if you're looking to say make a video to show somebody or something like that, you basically take a tripod. You put it on the opposite side of your piano. So if you're sitting, or your keyboard. So if you sit at your keyboard, you put it on the opposite side that you don't sit at, that the keys aren't in, the top part. You turn and point the camera down at the keys, and then you use a program. You can flip the image around, and that gives you, basically the layout of the keyboard. Oh, a tripod. A tripod is something you put cameras on. So they're like the thing with three legs. So camera, tripod are like these things. So a tripod helps keep your camera nice and steady, basically. So it's like this thing, you put every camera has like an attachment to be put on it, and then you just move it around as you want. It really helps. Like, what I don't recommend you ever do is record a video holding the camera in your hand, because it will look very choppy and it will move a lot, and people, at least I don't like that too much. Unless you're outside, filming something outside that, and then I think it's kind of acceptable there, but... Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, everybody. I'm really glad to be getting Jalia, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, forgive me. But great to hear from you as well. And you're all very welcome. It looks like we had a great turnout tonight. So one thing I want to say once again before we go is, if you feel like this lesson helped you, give that like button, I almost flipped the words around, like button a punch or a push. And let others know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from as well. It really helps out. If you want to help out in a very small way, it actually helps out in a big way. But, if you want to give back in some small way, then that really does a lot of help. So thank you. And then subscribe if you haven't already, like if you're brand new to the channel or whatever. If you subscribe, you'll get the updates on, when things are coming out. YouTube's generally okay about that, but you will at least get more updates than if you don't subscribe. That's for sure. Yeah, you're very welcome, Jalia. God bless you as well. Thank you. No, John, I don't place it on top of my piano. I place it on the other side that I don't sit on the floor. Like you place it on the floor, and the tripod, another thing a tripod does is the legs extend. So you can really like raise it up above the piano. And then you just point the camera down at the piano. And then, like I said, you need to use like a piece of software to flip the image 180 degrees. That's what I do. That's a lot better. I used to try the first few lessons, I might have done this for the first one. I may have figured it out by the first lesson I put out. But I think I put the tripod in front of the camera and in front of the keyboard where I sit. And the problem with that is it's hard to play on the keyboard and get your arms around the tripod. So it works better if you put it on the other side and then point it down. But it's not on the keyboard. It's on the floor, up, pointing at the keyboard. Okay, everybody, we're about an hour here, which is generally how these things last, so I just want to leave you with a few words. So your assignment for next time is to practice these chords. So go through and watch the video again or take notes. Maybe I'll put up some notes, but take notes of what we talked about. Find some major chords on the piano. Now, obviously, you'll take time to count the half steps. Find some minor chords on the piano. Find some diminished chords, some augmented chords, and then the seventh chords. So that's your thing for next time. You want to go through that and do maybe 3 different ones of each of those. So you want to find 3 different major chords. So you want to pick a random note, A flat, play A flat major. Pick a random note, F, play F major, G, G major. And then you want to go through and do that for each of those. And you want to do that probably once every other day until we meet again. And then the only other thing I want to tell you is thank you so much for coming out tonight. We meet, well, first of all, you can check the description for what I call the community page, which is where you can get all the great topics that we'll be talking about in the next few weeks to come and when these take place. But they take place between 8 and 9 p.m., basically, Eastern Standard Time. So whatever an hour and 2 minutes is before right now for you, unless you're watching this as a recording, that's when these start, and you're always welcome to come back Fridays and Sundays. Yeah, you're very welcome, John. So again, thanks everybody. I'm going to end it here. Great talking to you. We got a lot of familiar faces come back tonight. We got a lot of new ones. I love to see it. So remember, this is Tim from Lessons on the Web, the channel dedicated to teaching the piano. I really messed it up. The channel dedicated to teaching the world piano and music. And that's why these things don't go on longer than an hour, because my brain starts to get tired and I say really goofy things. But anyway, thank you so much for coming out. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you again on Friday. Thank you.